I'm gonna start recording now. We are recording.
All right, everybody, clean it up, everybody.
Right, can you scoot the TV forward a little bit so these guys can see? All right. Leah.
Hi, 1 year. Here we are.
1 year. We made it a year.
We made it a year.
Can you believe it?
I want to take a minute right now before we even get started to thank you and just bask in the amazing energy that you have brought and created in the salon. I have learned so much about AI this year, but I have learned so much from you about building a community and believing in people and watching this come about. It has been an absolute it's been a pleasure and a delight to do this with you, Kyle.
Well, thank you so much. I feel the same way. You and I, so it was probably 3 weeks or so ago, a year ago, where you and I first met, and we were just talking about making images, and you hadn't tried it yet. And then we just said, screw it, let's go. And
Let's do it.
Here we are.
Here we are.
This is definitely a community of shoot first and then aim.
Yeah, I mean, that's how AI is, though. That's how everything about learning AI has been, right? Just go, just do it. If you think too much about doing it, you already will have missed whatever you were trying to do. It'll be something else. So it's like, just dive in. And we've done it. Yeah.
We've totally done it.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight's going to be really fun. But what I want to do is just we've got people here who have spoken before. We've got people here who are organizers and guild masters and who've been here. I saw Chris McCarthy's in there, who haven't seen in a while. Man, there's so many people here. So it's largely going to be kind of an AI confessionals kind of thing. So what we're going to do, what my request is if you haven't joined the Mighty Networks Salon channel, my request is that you do that. If you're here locally and you have machines, you can play with this, but if not, you can do it later. But if you go to the AI Salon Mighty Networks, so the address for it is aisalon.mn.co, mightynetworks.co. So if you haven't signed up yet, go sign up. There's a show and tell channel in there. And in the show and tell channel, if you search for webcam backgrounds, there's a set of like 10 of these things that have this AI Salon logo, like the background that I'm doing now. So go there and grab one of those and make it your camera background, just so we're all kind of celebrating together. And or just go start making salon, happy birthday AI Salon images and share them on show and tell. So part of what the community is really cool at is just creating stuff, sharing it, being really generous with that. So go do that. While Leah and I are setting things up here, just go make images, share images. And if you have questions, I guess just ask them in chat, and anyone who's figured out how to do this before, just help each other in chat. So Leah, tell me what, like, what's the last year been like for you? Like, catch me up on like what's been your progression from, you know, I haven't tried this, but I did digital photography. You know, I made the transition to digital photography, so why not this? What's this past year been like for you?
So it's been like a very interesting journey. I was very enthusiastic about making images using AI from the beginning. And I got there, and I can make great portraits using AI. And I am now feeling a little bit like I really miss making just human-made imagery. And I've been on a lot of creative calls with creative teams talking about jobs. And there is such a pushback right now with creative types around making very real human images. And so I've gone back and forth, and I'm kind of embracing both. And one day I'm really excited about making images using only AI, and some days I'm really excited about making images using just cameras. So that's where I'm at, and every day changes. But and the other piece of AI that I have embraced is the operational aspect of it, and using ChatGPT almost daily in all kinds of things I have going on to help it, everything, to help write posts, write emails, come up with brainstorming, all of just the stuff I would almost use an intern for, I now use ChatGPT for. So that's been mind blowing too. How about you, Kyle? I mean, think about where you were a year ago and where you are now. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like as we come up on the end of the year, I feel like we're about to do a major reset where 2023, we're ending 2023, right?
Yeah.
2023 was very much about sort of single mode ChatGPT and single mode images. And then, a month ago, we go to multimodal. And I'm starting to hear a lot more about video right now. So we have a lot of, like, I feel like 2024 is just going to be, if 2023 was crazy, I think 2024 is going to be insane. And so I think more clueless today than I did a year ago.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it was more simple, and I feel like it's about to get really complicated. Just really, really sophisticated. And how do you interact with something where you thought it was about writing a prompt, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with words, but now we can use images as prompts and audio as prompts and eventually video as prompts, and then we can output all of those things and code as well, and all of that's going to mix together. So I think I'm feeling clueless.
Yeah, it's one of the things I'm really excited about our salon tonight, because we're going to do testimonials and we're going to hear everybody. One of the reasons we started doing that was because of the insight when we all came together to share this one little piece that we had learned that felt transformative. It felt sort of just regular for us, but ended up being transformative for someone else. And that, I think, exactly what you just described is the heart of the salon, right? There is no way to understand everything alone. So together, we can all share that one little piece or that one little corner of the AI world that we're part of, and then come together and all be stronger for it. So I feel like that's a really good segue right into what we're doing tonight.
Yeah. Okay. So let's jump in. So let me share my screen. So first off, what I'm excited to share is we have a new logo. I want to call out Bradley Perkins, who's in the room here, who has been working like a beast for the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, getting Mighty Networks up, working on the branding. He and I have been working on this stuff, and we came up with, this is a custom logo for our 1-year anniversary, and we've got some other branding, so I'm really excited about that. So what a year! So congratulations to everyone. Thank you to everyone. So I talked about, we've got the backgrounds here. So my request is, go to Mighty Networks if you haven't been there yet. Go to the Show and Tell channel and search for webcam backgrounds, and there's a bunch of them in there, and/or make your own and share them while we're doing that. And then I want to thank some people first. So one of the things that it's my absolute intention to do is that as this community grows, that it's accessible to everyone, so that you don't have to pay. So we took on this commitment of moving to Mighty Networks, which is a paid service. And so rather than charging dues or fees or charging for guilds or something like that, we made the decision that, let's see if we can do this through sponsorship. So our first sponsor forever for the AI Salon is Content Evolution. So Kevin Clark, who I work with a lot, stepped up and said, I will cover the first month of Mighty Networks. So I want to thank Content Evolution. Content Evolution is an amazing organization of lots of other organizations, and Kevin is the leader of that. So I want to thank Kevin. We also had some individual contributors. So thank you to all of you. And then there's a new thing that we've done. So again, this is a shout out to Bradley. We put together a merch store with our new branding. So we created new branding. We put together a merch store. And And that merch store is live now. So if you go to AI Salon or thesalon.ai, it will take you to a newly revamped link tree. And on the link tree is a link to the community at the top, but you'll see at the bottom, there's our merch store. And anything that you buy from the merch store, the profit from that, the addition from that is going to support the infrastructure cost of the salon. So you can get cool stuff, and it supports the salon. And we are releasing tonight, we're taking that custom logo that Bradley came up with for the first anniversary, and we're creating a limited edition first anniversary shirt and hoodie. So there's two different t-shirt styles and there's a hoodie style. Those are only going to be on the store for 48 hours. So if you dig that design and want to support the salon, you got 48 hours, which is what? That's approximately Thursday around midnight, basically. So go do that. There's also stickers there. The stickers, we've decided we're going to leave those up longer. So the t-shirts will be there for a couple of days. The stickers will be up there for a while. But there's lots of other stuff there. So thank you for getting that up and running, and go check that out. And that brings us.
Let's put a link to that into the chat.
Great. Just go
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the link is though.
The salon.ai.
Okay.
Can you pop that in there?
Yep, I got it.
And that'll take you to that link tree, and then you'll do it. And then, so last meeting, we soft launched the AI Salon community site. So we're shifting from Discord. The Mighty Network site is officially live today. So we are officially launching this. We will be archiving some of the conversations on Discord. No data is going to go away. We're going to put some things into read-only mode. We're going to archive some things. All the data is still there. So if you need anything there, you can still do that. You can still go to the Discord. You can still generate Midjourney images there. There's still going to be a show and tell channel there. So if you like the Discord, you can still hang out there. We'll have a general discussion there. But this is the new home for the salon. So I'm going to go give you a quick little tour of it. So when you go to the salon, why is it doing this, Bradley? There we go. Thank you. Okay, so when you get to the salon, when you first land here, there's welcome to the salon. There's a whole bunch of info about the salon. So, values, who we are, why we're here, that stuff's all there. There's an about the community page that has lots of different things like navigating the network, rules of engagement, a little bit about the team. There's announcements, there's thank yous, there's FAQs and resources. There's also under AI Salon content, there are events like this event. And what's nice about when we schedule events through Mighty Networks, when the event is live, you get a little banner that says this event is live based on how long it is. I saw today that Peter Kaminsky had an event for AI 101. And when I logged in, there were like 17 people in there. So it was really cool to be able to see that the event was going live there. In the community section, there's a welcome wagon where you introduce yourself. So one of the things we always talk about is, please introduce yourself. So jump into the welcome wagon and say hi if you haven't done that. There's a water cooler discussion where you can just blab about whatever. There's show and tell where it looks like people are already starting to upload very cool images. So please do that. Ooh, that's cool, HT. Very nice. Very nice. Ooh, that's cool. So go do that. So there's news, there's tools and resources. You can ask for help. And then there's also guilds. So we revamped guilds a little bit. There's now a find a guild page that sort of talks about what the guilds are and how to join them. And then the different guilds, there's a 101 guild, an art guild, a writing guild, things like that. So that is that's the Mighty Network. So it is officially live. Now when we talk about the community, we'll be pointing people to this. The Salon.ai points to this, and we're off to the races. So who'd have thunk it? We have a home.
It's amazing. And the Salon, the Mighty Networks is so, it's a delight to use after being on Discord. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's nice to be able to comment on things and things like that. So with that, do I have anything else? No, that was it. Okay. So that's it. So we now have a home. Let me stop sharing my screen. We now have a home. So what I'd like to do is this. We've got lots and lots of people online. We've got 77 people online. Holy crap, this is by far our biggest meeting. So that's awesome. So
Yay,
hey,
welcome. Hi, everyone.
that's incredible. Here in Denver, we have what, 8, 10, something like that, 8 or 9. So we have a good solid crew here. Kevin Clark's here, Richard Boyd's here, it looks like. So what I'd like to do is this. I want to start with anyone who spoke at the Salon. Ken, you're here, so I'm going to still have you time, but because you're not on screen, just time, and you'll let me know, and I'll smack people down. So if you've spoken at the Salon in the past year, I want to start with you. So here's my request. If you're online and you've spoken here, I know we've got Jane here has spoken. I think that's it, right? So Jane, what I'll have you do is I'll have you come up here at some point when you're ready. If you're online and you have spoken at the Salon, my request is that you raise your hand right now. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to just go person by person, and you'll have 5 minutes. And what I would love for you to do is reintroduce yourself, because there's a bunch of new people here, and remind us what you talked about if you remember, and if not, that's cool too. And then I would love to just hear, reflect on the last year. All right. So let's see. Cindy Kuhn, you raised your hand first. Fantastic to see you. Happy 1-year anniversary of the Salon. I'm so glad you're a part of it. So tell us, you've got 5 minutes. Ken is starting the stopwatch now. So jump in and tell us about your year.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Cindy Kuhn. I'm an applied futurist and also a creative and a writer and all kinds of other goody things that I like to play and have fun. So I spoke earlier about my work as a futurist, and we did an exercise building a scout, sending them out into the future, investigating a little bit on our behalf, and then coming back and telling us what they saw. So, as a futurist, all of this business is very interesting to me, specifically for the reason of my lens is extremely human-centric, and my social science work is focused on the humans. And so I am just fascinated to witness the opportunity for the democratizing of creation on this scale. Honestly, that is what's blown me away more than anything. All the people I've met in the last year, all the people who have decided that they want to mess around in this space, it's just been so fun to see people who would have never called themselves anything in the areas of creative suddenly just brimming with creativity and production and making things. And for me, that's been the most exciting thing to witness, is just the availability of these tools for everybody across the board. And then for me personally, as a creative, it's been so cool to have all of these. For me, they're collaborative tools. So I see AI as just being like other tools I would use. And it's a lot of fun because I get to have a conversation and have a buddy any hour, any time of the day. And I can just sort of go, I'm like noodling on this idea, this thought, this something I want to mess around with. And I would like to say what used to take me a lot longer to research, I can do faster. But the truth is now I just waste tons of time in a beautiful, productive way by noodling down all different kinds of AI. So I'm running across all platforms just because I feel like I don't know what is going to live. So I'm trying to just engage in as many things as I can. I definitely have my favorites when I really need to get something done. But I just think over the last year, the biggest thing that has come of this for me is it really feels like we as a collective, everybody, are going to have this opportunity headed in the direction of super personalized for ourselves that doesn't feel dark. It feels exciting. It feels playful. So I don't need the whole 5 minutes, but I would just say it's been a ball to just play in this space and collectively play, because normally as a creative, many of us just hang out in our studios and our spaces alone, or maybe with a couple people, but having this sort of global scale of this pulse and rhythm of people playing and engaging and openly admitting they don't know what they're doing and teaching each other has just been my kind of jam. So that's been my year.
It's amazing. Can I ask you one question, Cindy? I've got your echo. I don't know what's going on. What was I going to say? As a futurist, so one of the things that strikes me is I kind of feel like I'm going back and looking at sci-fi movies in a different lens. Like sci-fi movies are more like documentaries now. and I'm just curious from a futurist point of view, like, do you feel like, the future has arrived? I know the future is still in ahead of us, but like, what's your take on the fact that we've seen such dramatic advancement and it looks like that's accelerating? Like, how do you frame that?
I mean, for me, it's not super shocking because, folks in futures definitely have been mucking around in AI for a little bit. And nobody saw this happening, of course. But I mean, the slower over time progression was occurring. And I think that natural just wouldn't have brought in what we see right now. We really needed a tool, or a suite of tools, I should say. We really needed somebody to kick it off, and then everything rolls forward. But what I would say about the sci-fi piece is, science fiction is really valuable to create the understanding in all of us as humans that we are capable of creating that. So, the iPad was in Space Odyssey 2001. There's a lot of technology we have today that were in science fiction movies in the 60s, 70s, in stories all the way back to the early 1900s. And the purpose of it, and I feel like it's akin to what's going on right now. Science fiction lives. I don't think the future's arrived because the future's always still way ahead of all of us. Yep. But I do think what has arrived is this notion that each of us have a place in the future. And as a futurist, the hardest thing I work with is it's really hard for the humans to imagine themselves in the future. That's really hard. But this allows people to go, oh, okay, well, this is one little tool that I can kind of enter into the future in a way that I'm not affected other than right now in my own computer. So I think the sci-fi piece, it's inviting us to see our own futures faster than humans ever have before. So at the end of the day, the technology got us there, but what it's helping is our own vision that we can do this stuff, even ourselves, without needing big tech people. And that's cool.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for kicking us off. Thanks for jumping in. You're awesome. Terry Spataro, I see you're next in the queue. You spoke at one of the very early salons. Welcome back.
Harry, your mic is off.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Wow, I'm saying, oh my God, I'm still green. The last time I was green too.
I
My
know.
light just blew a couple minutes ago. Wow, congratulations. It's been a year. Whoa. What
It's
a
nuts.
fabulous year it's been, right?
Nuts.
So it's nuts. I'm going to turn the
It's
camera
crazy.
off because it's
Yeah.
a little distracting.
Crazy year.
Really crazy year indeed. So when you asked me to speak, I spoke on creating images for picture books, and I did the whole talk on Beyond Darkness, which was a lot of fun. And actually, most recently, I gave that same talk with a lot of in-depth workflows on how to put together your own picture book using different AIs and making it work. It was for the global brand convergence. So that was a lot of fun. And most recently, I see Frank is here. So most recently, I had a book published, and it's called AI for Brands. So I'm on this whole roll of doing a lot of different books and creating a lot of content. And I did make a video for us. It's a happy birthday video, and I'm not even sure if it will play.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I know that hasn't been 5 minutes, but you know, kind of short, sweet, and to the point.
Are you gonna play the video now?
Let's see if it will work. Share my screen. I've got to hunt for it first. I was just going to put it up on the Mighty Networks, which I think is so cool.
You're gonna put it on show and tell?
Yeah, I think there might be a slight issue because we use Mighty Networks for Black Studio, so I'm in Black Studio,
Mhm.
and it could be a little bit of a problem with video, but we'll see.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Here it is. Let's see. Okay. Stop. Okay, I'll see if this will work. Give me a second. Okay, can you see that?
No. Oh wait.
Oh, no?
Now we can. Yep.
Okay, I'm not sure if you could hear it, but we'll try it.
We have no audio.
No audio. Yeah, you know, I think it has to do with like the speakers and all sorts of things and changing some kind of setting on it. But there it is. I'll upload it and put it on there, and anybody who wants to see it can see it.
Lovely. Thank you. Looks beautiful.
Those cakes look delicious. Those AI cakes look awesome.
Oh my God, I know. It's all about cake, isn't it?
Hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. Well, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Kyle. Good to see you too.
Congratulations on
everybody.
Hey, Terry.
Thanks.
Hey. Liz Miller-Gershfield, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Okay, here we are. Do you see my
Hi, Liz.
over-the-top party background?
Yep,
Lovely.
excellent.
Very
Woohoo!
Good. It's very Versailles. I don't know.
Very, yes. You're very classy.
Well, I try. Thank you so much for having me back. And I'm so excited for a year. And I'm just excited about you guys. And I'm happy to be back. So a year is really, that's something. You've sustained and grown.
Yeah, Liz, I'd love to hear about your journey this year too. I feel like we're the whole photo world where we were at the beginning of the year and where we are now has shifted so much. I'd love to hear what's your year's been like.
Okay, so when I talked last, just very briefly, it was sort of observations from my perspective of being a producer. So this has certainly been a year of a lot of changes. Certainly in the AI space, it's dizzying. Also, for me personally, I left my job as an executive art producer at a big advertising agency after 23 years to explore and try new things. I also, just on the side, became an empty nester, which is kind of an interesting experience. So in that time, I've worked as a freelance producer, a photo consultant, and I would also say as an AI explorer, because that is a very immersive thing to participate in. And in the AI space, the last year and a half, it's been so wow. And I was so overwhelmed in the beginning, and I sort of still am. I want to know everything. I'm interested in how the technology works, the business, the ethics, the copyright questions, the magic of how the large language models turn everything into language. Of course, the whole of human knowledge that's been digitized, and animal language and fMRI data that we talked about last time. And what AI is doing for material science and medicine and education, et cetera. But you can't drink from a fire hose forever. So my focus in this space has been in learning what artists and photographers are doing with AI, and also continuing to expand my awareness of the artists who are out there using this technology. As well, I've been doing my own art. And after trying many different programs, I love to work in Midjourney, and I find this more satisfying than I ever could have imagined. And I'm seeing for myself both how intent and emotion can be brought into work created with artificial intelligence. And I only share that on Instagram. And
it's been really fun to watch evolve and watch what you're bringing into it. And it's interesting because you've spent a lifetime looking at photographs. Yes. I mean, think about all of the work you've looked at in your mind, right? And it's been really neat to see how it's like, how you're combining it with Midjourney to do work that I feel like does have some of your voice in it, right? It does feel like the years and years and years of your own training that you've done yourself is starting to come out in that. It's been neat to see.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I've also been thinking with the product manager in Palo Alto about an idea. And I can't talk too much about that, but the idea is sort of reversing the flow of style transfer to find artists rather than replace them. So I thought I'd share a small handful of observations from my perspective. Of course, now is so ephemeral, and in the AI space, it's even more so. But the first is that there's still so much fear. You touched on this, Leah, even around learning about AI among a lot of people in the professional photographic community. I participated in a big meeting for a national photo organization, and in the sort of the communal space, when people were talking about AI and they were asked about it, there were a lot of fearful and shut down responses, and no one said anything positive. And then when I was one-on-one with photographers, that's when I was learning about how they're really using it in their workflows to augment and accelerate and make things easier, and hybrid approaches with their photography. And then a second observation on that same topic, I was able to judge a photo competition, a national photo competition. And I was really excited because they assigned me to the category of AI art. And I got to see so much cool work and so many interesting artists that were working with this. And then last month, I received the printed book from the photo competition, and they didn't print any of the AI work.
Really?
Yeah. And that was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. And then a second observation is that ad agency adoption seems to be very uneven still. Two publicly held, very large agencies I've worked with, people are working in secret with the AI tools. They're officially not allowed to work with them. But then they're being invited to these creative meetings where they're showing really inspiring work that people are doing. And they're being told, you know, you have to learn this, you have to do this. So to me, that says that it's going to be outsourced to production companies and artists and people outside of the agencies, which ultimately is good news for artists.
Yeah. That's right.
And I don't know if that's going to change, and then I was working at a privately held agency, a smaller agency, but still a major agency. And their head of production was terrified of AI because their creatives and designers are creating their comps in using AI tools, and it's being put in front of clients before vetting it for feasibility of production. So then
Oh no.
the clients see the work and they say, well, it's done, it's perfect, it's great. And their legal team say you can't use it.
Right.
And then the clients come back and say, well, then you need to make this for the budget that we've given you, which so that I think I talked about that actually in my last talk as a potential, and that is absolutely happening.
Wow.
But then they were excited about AI because, they're using it in small shoots. And a lot of photographers I've been talking to are doing things like shooting foreground images, creating backgrounds, or, that seems to be one of the larger areas where people are comfortably doing that, or collaborating with retouchers who are working with AI. So the photographers are still working in their typical workflow, but collaborating in post-production in that way. And then the last observation I just wanted to share was human creativity is vast, and AI is a force multiplier in that area. I attended a talk put on by the Chicago Humanities Festival, and it was titled, "Will AI Kill Creativity?" It was interesting because a lot of the people in the audience kind of went in with this working assumption, yes, it will. But the speakers said, no, it won't, which I think we all kind of agree with. And one of the speakers is a composer named Lucas Cantor Santiago. He's an Emmy Award-winning composer, and he writes music for the Olympics and has worked on other projects at large scales like that. So Huawei approached him and asked if he could use their AI system to finish Schubert's unfinished symphony, Symphony Number 8 in B minor. And at first he thought this was a crazy ask and he wanted nothing to do with it, but they persisted and he decided to give it a go. He wasn't even sure how to start. So he started by training the system on all recorded Schubert audio recordings that he could find. And what he got back, he described as a cat running on a piano. It was not musical at all. And he and his team, they kept trying different things, fewer things, more things, and it wasn't going well. And finally, he had an epiphany. He realized that a symphony from the perspective of a listener is a lot like looking at a beautiful building. We really only get to see or hear the facade, and we have no understanding of the structure. So for a building, we don't see the plumbing or the electrical engineering. And with that in mind, he trained the system on the most essential structural melodies, but in notation rather than recorded. The architecture without the facade. And I thought that was beautiful. With that flash of creativity, he was able to start getting somewhere. And in the end, it was Huawei found it successful. I happened to be at the talk with a classical music scholar and musician who I'm married to, and he said it was pretty successful. It kind of sounded like Schubert, but he said it was strange, as if in a 40-year later time warp with late romantic dissonant harmonies.
Wow.
But from my
Amazing.
perspective, the success was in that flash of insight of how to get what he wanted.
Right.
So,
How to teach the AI what we're looking for, how to sort of like understand its perspective.
yeah,
Like any creator we're
amazing.
collaborating with, like what's their perspective? What is how are they seeing things? To
That's right.
that to.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Anyway,
Liz,
thank you.
and
Happy
I want
anniversary.
thank you so much. It's so good to see you and so good to chat about. We could chat about this for the next 4 hours. So fabulous. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And I wanted to just say, we've seen a lot of requests in the chat for people to put their social handles in, LinkedIn, Instagram. So everyone, speakers included, please put your information in so people can keep up with all of the amazing things that people are doing. For sure.
The other
Cool.
thing I'll do another sort of ad for the community for Mighty Networks. One of our requests on Mighty Networks is use your real name. on Mighty Network, so you can connect with people and things like that. So share them here so you can connect, but also you can connect on Mighty Networks. Richard Boyd, good day to you, sir. So Richard, if you don't know, Richard's been in AI for a long, long time, and us having a 1-year anniversary and acting like it's a big thing. Richard's been in this for a decade, right? So I'm really excited to hear.
Let me count. Wait, 14.
14
years.
years. So this is Richard's 14-year birthday. But anyway, welcome. Good to see you, sir. And would love to hear your thoughts about the past year and since you talked and what's been happening with you.
No, thank you, Kyle. And once again, this community you've built, congratulations. I mean, it's really vibrant. It's got an amazing energy. And I really have enjoyed interacting with everybody in this network. But yeah, I don't, I used to call myself a futurist. I call myself a nowist now. I'm about to get on a plane tomorrow to go to Mobile, Alabama to talk to a beer distribution company and do a 2-day workshop on AI. So that's what I've been doing for the last year. It's been a very weird year because as Kevin Clark knows, who you introduced me to, Kyle, and Kyle and I have known each other since the mid-90s when I was making 3D design and simulation software for the movie industry, right? And I was, working with James Cameron. Well, what I talked about in my session that I did with you guys is, working in the movie industry with James Cameron on The Abyss back in the late 80s, doing game companies with Tom Clancy and Michael Crichton and Douglas Adams and Ozzy Osbourne and all these folks, and just having a blast in the 90s. And Kyle, you were a big part of that blast that we had. We had a lot of fun at that time. And you did a lot of great things with agency.com and other companies. But yeah, so, Lockheed Martin bought my last company. While I was there, I was running a group called Virtual World Labs. And it was there that I got called out to Microsoft to work on the very first, machine learning existed before that, but in 2009, I was out there with my colleague David Smith working on the Microsoft Connect project, and I told that story in the talk that I did about how it took 224,000 hours of CPU time to teach the system what a living room was and how to recognize the human body as an input instrument, and how just recalibrated my whole brain. Like that was one of those William Gibson nodal points in history where everything changed for me, where I came back and, if you had lapels, and everybody at Lockheed did, I was grabbing you by your lapels and like shaking you going like, have you heard about machine learning? It's the new button on the calculator. It's the new scientific method, right? It's the new way we have of solving problems. And that was 2009. And it's been so frustrating. And Kevin, you were part of this, remember, even as late as 2014 and 15, when I left Lockheed to create a machine learning company, we were doing workshops for Cisco, Lenovo, Cigna, JP Morgan, right? Trying to explain to them what this thing was and why they needed a strategy. And I remember one moment with Kevin and the CIO, was it CIO or COO, Kevin of Lenovo? I can't remember, but I think it was the CIO, and going like, dude, I am genuinely concerned for you that you do not have a documented strategy at this late date. And he was looking at me like I was crazy, right? And here we are, like everything's blown up and everyone's like, it's gone nuts. And like I said, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to go to Mobile, Alabama to do. And over the last year, I've been doing a lot of workshops and speaking and things like that. Whatever you feel about this dude, Henry Kissinger invited me to come to the 70th annual Eisenhower Fellows Conference in San Francisco a few weeks ago. I was supposed to be on the stage with Sam Altman talking about the alignment problem. He didn't show up because there was apparently some disruptive things happening in his life. I don't know what his problems are, but anyway, that's been my life over the last year, is sort of aligning people to it. But here's my perspective for what it's worth. I do feel like the old guy with the cane now, like kind of screaming at the kids. But, this stuff has been around for a while. It is extraordinarily powerful. And I've just come back from a Department of Defense conference where I was trying to give guidance to them about the fact that, guys, number one, this is not ordinary enterprise software. It needs to be dealt with a lot more care and a lot more thought. And we still don't have a machine learning debugger. Like, we don't know how this stuff actually, it's not transparent to inquiry. We don't know how it arrives at its conclusions. We need to do a lot of work there. We need to really work on the utility functions to figure out, maybe we need to mute Ronnie Kim, whoever that is. But we need utility functions for this that are aligned to good and benevolent outcomes. And that's a lot of what we're doing here at my company at Ultisim, is trying to figure out how to create that alignment. And I learned 3 months ago, I was in a conference, and someone said, like, well, what's your position on RAG? And I'm like, what's a RAG? And they're like, oh God, you old guys don't know anything about software. And I'm like, well, tell me what it is. It's like when I was a bartender and someone would come in, back when I was a bartender, and someone would come in and order a drink, and I'm like, well, if you can describe it, I can do it. And they said, oh, it's retrieval augmented generation. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been doing that for 10 years. It's like, give a body of knowledge to something. I've done it for community colleges, for banks, for research institutions. Like, here's a whole body of knowledge. And we called it a knowledge graph back then. But this knowledge graph can then be interpreted and interrogated by a machine learning system. So you can just walk in and say, hey, machine learning system, I'm trying to run my business. What should I pay attention to today? Tell me give me the top 4 things I should be focused on. And it should be able to answer those questions if you've designed a really good system. So that's where we're headed. It's really advancing fast. And the talk that I just did at the DoD conference, where they asked me, I did a couple of talks, but one of them was on the next big thing, right? And I said, the next big thing, like, everybody's looking at the shiny jangling keys of large language models. To me, we started working with BERT and GPT-1, 2 a long time ago. I think in my session, Kyle, I talked about how in 2017, I resurrected my father who had just died by scanning in all of his information and then having this like rudimentary, BERT-driven ChatGPT functionality where I could release him on the net. He's reading information, he's listening to podcasts, he's watching YouTube videos, he's rendering his opinion, and then I can go and talk to him, at least the shadow version of my father. And I did a whole tour of South America and Medellin and Buenos Aires, talking about, in that community, about like, what would it mean if you could still commune with your ancestors? Again, that's a 1-hour talk. We're not going to do that right now. And I'm not building that, by the way. I just couldn't get comfortable with any business model around that. But again, there's so much rich opportunity here. But here's where I think the next big thing is. Everybody's focused on large language models. They're forgetting about the knowledge graph, which I think is an incredibly powerful AI capability, which is map your organizational knowledge, have it transparent to inquiry, connect that to that large language model so that you can focus in on the contextually bound area of, the practice of architecture or motorcycle maintenance or whatever the hell it is you care about. And it becomes even more powerful than this LLM, which is, what's the utility function of OpenAI and a lot of these systems? It's to please the prompter. And it's trained on this big, lossy, compressed version of the internet, which is great. But again, if you could compress it contextually, and we learn this, right, Kevin, with Watson and other things, the more you can bound the domain area, the more powerful it becomes. And then bound that with an LLM. And then the final piece is where my whole background, as Kyle knows, comes in. And this is the conference I just came from. Pair that with the modeled and simulated version of the world. So you've got this IIoT and this sort of data-centric driven digital twin of the world that it's learning from. And that's how humans learn. That's how all of us learn. That's how you're going to get artificial general intelligence. And I told Kyle in this past week that I reached out to Ben Goertzel, who's the guy who came up with the AGI term. I'm trying to compress this all in 5 minutes, but obviously it's a bigger conversation philosophically. But What I want to
Yeah,
do
we
is
gotta-
bend all this stuff towards how do we design better communities, better states, better worlds with a utility function that is benevolent, that is like, if we, can tell us things like, if I invest in Build Back Better, Affordable Care Act, Inflation Reduction Act, early childhood education, that kind of thing, what does my community look like 5, 6, 10 years from now? Who's going to benefit? Who's going to lose? And how do we bend all this stuff towards that? And that's my thesis I call the simulation century, which is, and I'll end with this, Kyle, because I know I'm probably running up on my 5 minutes, but
Yeah.
I had Kyle come
We're
and speak. Huh? Am I
We're
over?
over. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I
That's
can
all right.
stop, but the last thesis point here is that the last century was about the recorded image. It was the first time in human history when all of us could reflect upon the Vietnam War or Tiananmen Square, whatever it is, by looking at video footage of it. Marshall McLuhan would say that medium changed us physiologically. It changed us as a community, as a society, as a culture. I think this is the simulation century. So it's the first time in human history when we can actually model and use AI and machine learning to simulate our future. And it's not only for prediction, it's for design. How do we design a better future for all of us? And with that, I'll cede the rest of my time to the congressman from Colorado.
Richard, thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Mind blowing. Thank you.
Yeah,
Learned so
congrats
much.
on
Thank you.
everything. Trevor Mays.
Hey, I'm still pretty new to the group. I've only been to a couple meetings actually, but yeah. So my background is in architecture, the built environment architecture.
Trevor, were you a speaker at the salon?
No, but I was there in person like sometime before Thanksgiving.
Okay, right now we're just doing speakers, and then we'll come back to everyone else. So
okay, gotcha. Yeah, I guess I missed that part.
Jane, you wanna come up here? Yeah, come up here. Thanks, Trevor. Jane Endicott, organizer extraordinaire.
Hey, am I on? Okay. Hey guys, my name is Jane. I'm an organizer and a guild master and also a previous speaker. So a year ago, no, not less than a year ago, not even a year ago, like in January, I met Kyle at Creative Mornings, and I asked him like, hey, what's this? He told me he was working on some AI stuff. And I was like, what's this GPT thing? Like, should I worry about it? I'm a writer. And he was like, you should have been using this yesterday. That was 2 months after it came out. I'm like, okay. So I went on and I dove into it. So a year ago, I wasn't like last December, let's say, fine. Okay, last December, I wasn't using AI at all, GPT at all. And now I exclusively use it for my copywriting work. Like it's what amazes me is not so much the fact that like it's doing it, but the speed at which it evolved. Like it was months and not years. Like something that should have taken years to completely up into my industry just took months. Like at first I was just kind of like prompting it to kind of get some drafts on GPT. And now I've created bots to like create very specific pieces of my work. And I just end up like editing and curating a lot of that stuff. But what my talk was about was really about like the hero's journey. Like I said, I'm a writer. I was an English major, and the hero's journey is just this concept of like how stories are told. And like if you've watched Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Harry Potter, it's all of that is based on this idea that's like thousands of centuries old, and over the course of the year, we've talked a lot about like, what is art, and if you make something with AI, is it considered art? And then somebody brought up, like, is it going to kill human creativity? Like all of those questions can be answered if we go back and look at all the stories that have come before us. That like our human heritage is in all of those stories and all those myths, those legends, all those books that you read for school that you absolutely hated, all of that is part of our heritage that is going to help us like navigate, this what I think is like this next stage of human evolution. And so I run the guild the Writers Guild for the Salon. And it just absolutely amazes me what people are doing with it. It just blows my mind. I mean, we had a new member this week who showed up to our last meeting, said he had never written anything ever. and he shared with us like a Christmas story with some illustrations that he wrote with using these models. And it's beautiful. Like, and that's really what I'm interested in. Like, I don't think it's going to kill creativity. I think if we ask ourselves the right questions, and if we really dig deep and understand what creativity is, and what it means to be human, I think this can actually just be a better tool. So yeah, I'll drop some information in the chat, and thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jane.
I also
Awesome.
just wanted to jump in and say Jane is the leader of our Writers Guild at the Salon. And there's a lot of really interesting things happening there around writing and storytelling and using ChatGPT. And I would encourage people to jump on and become part of it. It's been really wonderful, Jane, to watch your journey and be part of it with you this year.
Exactly. Thank you, Jane. Kenny Friedman.
Kenny.
Good day to you, sir. Hey, Kenny.
I couldn't figure out how to mute. Okay. I'm going to sound really disorganized because I was coming into this late. Hey, everybody. First of all, you haven't seen me in a while.
The setup was just basically just remind people quickly what you talked about, and then just like tell us about your last year, because I know you and I did some stuff early on, and like what's been going on? Where are you?
So, my last year's been crazy. I mean, first of all, you'll probably see me around more often. I'm lapsed because my kid had music lessons on Tuesdays. They're going back to Wednesdays. So there you go. But yeah, so I talked about a year ago, I got in this because of Leah, and what I talked about at the time was really to get better prompts, better work out of your Midjourney, right? Because my background is photographer. I'm a creative director, and I found out really early on that, like a lot of people are saying here, it's not going to kill creativity. It's never going to be as smart or as good or as weird as us. In fact, last week I asked Claude if people are weird, and it said yeah, and it explained our weirdness compared to AI weirdness. And I know that was a really weird conversation to have, but that's the deal. We'll always be weirder and different, so more creative than any machine. And that's really what I've been doing and leaning into. So I spoke about it here, like really again how to get better imagery out, how to get different imagery out, how to maybe not do what everyone else is doing, and prompt like other people are doing, but that's what I leaned into the last year. So I've started teaching brands and creative brands, ad agency, design agency, creative teams how to bring mostly Midjourney into the creative world, how to not only use it as a tool, how to get better stuff, but also like where it fits in. It fits in really well, in my opinion, in the concepting stage. It's freaking amazing at that. It could help us think. We no longer have a blank screen looking at us. We could just start typing and we get something awesome. And that goes through the language as well. So it's teaching of that, and then got a pretty decent job from that to teach LLMs, and hooked up with this crazy guy who I had known named Kyle, and we touched a couple brands how to bring LLMs into their workflow, and worked with some other brands, really just bringing AI and what they can do creatively. So that that's mostly what I'd been doing the last year, and then I wound up finding another agency. I'm executive creative director at an agency in Louisville called Leap Group, although I'm still in Chicago, although I'm in Louisville right now. And one of the things that got me there is not only my background, but also, that I was one of the few really talking about AI, and I'm surprised that so few people at my level and in my industry are talking about AI, but I know I'm surprised that they aren't. But I also know the reality is because I know how few are, and it's just weird to me. So yeah, that's what I do. That's
one of the things, Kenny, that I've always been impressed with by you. I feel like you're very, very articulate. When you communicate on LinkedIn, you don't just post images and say, here's a cool thing I did.
Yeah.
You'll post it and say, here's an ethical issue that this raised for me, or I've heard people bitch about this. Can you just talk about like that journey? Has there been any evolution as you put those pieces out there? Is it is it just crickets from the creative community? Like, has there been any evolution as you're putting your POV out there?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. Among the AI community, I'm not liked. I'm not liked. I'm not loved. Like my stuff won't go viral. Won't there's people literally. There's another group where the people don't want to work with me because I speak out against things. No, I don't care. Like I'm saying, like I had this post. Like one of the things that about if you really work with especially Midjourney and now there's all of them. They don't understand things like apertures and lenses and all this stuff. And so I did a whole thing of like, if you are going to somebody and they're teaching you how to use AI and they say, you put this lens in, put this aperture in, they probably don't know what they're doing. I said it probably a little bit nicer, maybe 5% nicer. And they don't like that because they're teaching, but I'm trying to be honest, and I spoke out about the ethics of it. I spoke out about some blackface that was going on. And this guy was like, it's not blackface and you can't say it's blackface because you're white. And I'm like, well, I think I can. If I see something bad, I think I can say it's bad. And also I'm Jewish and everyone hates us. So I get it. This was months ago. It's worse now. And so, but yeah, but that said, so the AI community, not so sure. The ad community, that's where and sorry about the beeps. I'm getting to it. The ad community does appreciate it because they need to know like how to do things the right way. They need to know not to use artist names. Again, like I'm very adamant about not using artist names. Other people love it. They need to know like how to get around the bias. And all of that. And they want somebody who actually understands what it's doing and what their thing is. So the ad community likes me and reaches out to me. I kind of push away. I don't mean to push away the ad community, but I'm just me. Me. I'm 100% me, and I'm honest and authentic. And another thing I'm talking about a lot lately too, you'll see if you follow me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, is I think people say that AI is going to take away creativity, and I swear to God, we don't have enough time, but I don't think we're creative at all. I think we've become so not creative as people. We like the stupidest shit. We watch the stupidest influencers and all this other stuff. We've taken away our creativity. AI hasn't. We can use whatever tool we can to like regain creativity and difference. And if it's AI, great, but it's not going to make you not creative at all. It's going to make not creative make beautiful pictures, but that's not creativity.
Yeah. Awesome, Kenny.
That's right.
Cool.
Kenny,
Thanks.
good to see you.
Yeah,
thanks for checking in. Congratulations on the new gig too. Delighted to have you.
Yeah, keep coming back. John Knack, are you there? Are you available?
Hey guys, can you see and hear me?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Welcome, John. So John's with Adobe. He's spoken at the Salon twice now. He is single-handedly invented all of the AI that Adobe's ever done. Congratulations on that.
Wow.
Thank you. It's like if you say that into a mirror, it'll cause a very stern Romanian man to appear over my shoulder with a dagger. So Alexandria, if you're out there, he is completely kidding. Hey everybody. God, I literally today, one of my teammates was like, characterize the last year in one AI generated image. And so I asked for a man riding on an emotional roller coaster, but make it Lego because it's always more cool and fun if you make it Lego. Guys, honestly, it's nuts. I mean, 12 months ago, I had made myself persona non grata because I was, I'd been beating on people inside of Adobe for, 8 months at that point, whatever it was, whenever DALL-E decloaked, and being like, oh my God, like how are we not in the game? And I kind of thought, God, and I mean, there were amazing researchers, they were doing cool stuff, but like nothing had really cohered at all. And then I was all set to take a role on After Effects, which would have been amazing and brilliant. But it got blocked, and it was like, no, blah, 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 headcount, come back from Christmas. And all of a sudden it was go time. It's like, yep, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it fast, and we're going to make our own model, and we're going to put it in our tools. And it was like, okay, hold on. So here we go. And so I've been really from like mid-January until March 21st. It was, 4-alarm, crazy pants, making firefly.adobe.com, for which I've been product manager. And then I would argue, much more importantly, getting the tech into apps like Photoshop. Yeah. People talk about like catastrophic success. So like, just to tell tales out of school a little bit, I think we were off by a factor of like 20x in terms of how many people initially would download the Photoshop beta and use it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's just like, well, it's obviously cool stuff, but it takes people a long time to adopt things. And it was like, no, it doesn't. Good news, bad news. People really like it, and they're generating billions of images. Bad news, there's a certain number of GPUs, and there's a line going up and to the right, and it intersects, and it's going to really be bad. Yeah.
Really be bad? You mean from a business perspective?
Oh, from a like Photoshop doesn't work perspective. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. So people tend to freak out.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things for which I unironically take zero credit, because I am not a server provisioning deployment person. Like it really was all hands on deck behind the scenes to get more capacity and to make sure things scaled. And I would say, the like super strong product market fit for Adobe with Gentech is Photoshop with content overfill. And that's not a surprise, because like I had surveyed people, last August, and said, what do you want? And something like 40% of people were like, yeah, I would like to be able to make an image from scratch. That's a really cool thing to do. Which, compared to any other feature you'd ask about, I'm sure 40% is super, super high. But 60% of people are like, yeah, I don't really need to make a whole image. I just want to like put one thing in one image, right? Like whatever this creature behind Leah is, like I want that, or I want another of them, or I want him wearing a hat, or whatever. 80% of people were like, I just want to remove stuff from photos. So like, what if it was content overfill? It was just better. Right. And, I'm amazed, again, apropos of Legos, 2 weeks ago, I was like under the L tracks in Chicago with the Lego Bluesmobile, as one does, across from where Elwood's apartment was blown up by Carrie Fisher, with Legos. And then, like wanting to take my hand out of these shots. They're on my Instagram feed. Should anybody be equally nerdy, but it's breathtaking. I mean, like literally like one click, semantic segmentation, click my hand, another click, the hand is gone. Staggering. So that's been a smash. I would say beyond that, the world is, at least as I see it, is still in this kind of wait and see mode. Not even wait and see, but like more kick the tires. Yeah. So, and I don't know that it's particular to Firefly. I think the retention rate for this stuff is still a mixed bag. So people are like, yeah, I came in and I just want to see what the hell it can do. Like, can I make a sloth made of pasta hanging out with Elon Musk? All right, there you go. Yes. Okay. Back to work. So you talk to people, they're like, okay, did they come back? Why did they come back? Like, well, I came just to see what it was. Now I'm coming back for like ideation. Like, I just want to get some inspiration, and I kind of want to even see what's possible. And then from there, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I think it was Kenny saying it, like, AI will never be as weird as us. I don't know. It's pretty weird. I think. I mean, it can, make these inferences. I'm like, oh, sometimes it's like overly literal, but that's kind of fun in a way, because it's like I wouldn't have thought of that. I know too much as a human, and that can be kind of like jar you in a fun manner. I think most people don't need to just make random imagery. I mean, I think people, there's the famous adage, people don't want the 1/4-inch drill, they want the 1/4-inch hole, right?
Right.
So just get me that. Like, you think about, why would I use this stuff at work? What do I even want at work? Well, I want to do well, provide for my family, which means I probably should impress my boss by making a good presentation. What would that consist of? Well, probably like well-structured data, and then it's presented in an appealing way. And sure, if it can stand out visually, so much the better. But like, that's the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
You know, I can imagine, you know, hey, what in the near future, like, could I just feed some analytics dashboards and maybe some, you know, big brain dumps from customers in here? And, you know, could I have my assistant doing what I would do if I just had more time, which is like pulling out the really salient stuff, visualizing that. You know, people don't, again, you know, always apropos of Legos, but like, they don't want this, the like unsorted piles. They actually want it like assembled into coherent visual narrative. So I think what I'm hoping in this next year is we'll see a lot more pivot to like very specific solutions, as opposed to like kind of just general stuff. The other thing I would say is around creative control. So my brother is a trucker. This year, he finally got to buy his own truck, his first truck, super hyped. It's a milk truck. So in case he doesn't bring people milk like in the 50s, it's like rather the milk does somehow have to get from the cow to you. And so he's that dude who like gets up at 2 a.m. and like gets the milk. Anyway, he asked me to make some art for the front of his truck, which was really fun. I'm like, cool, I'll get my kid involved. We sat there and I was trying Firefly, I was trying Midjourney. It's interesting, like what it can and cannot do. I'm, you know, today I was made my first GPT, which is like a Lego, basically like making ironic Lego vehicles out of, like you type your name and your vehicle type and the caption you want, and it'll make you like super fun stuff. What it couldn't do for me, and it still can't, is like, I need 3 cows, 2 of whom are standing up and 1 is lying down.
Yep.
This is it. This is the creative brief from the kid, the brother. Can't do it. I'm like, it would give you 3 standing up. It'll be 3 lying down. Why not 2 standing up and 1 lying down? I don't know. Okay,
Yep.
fair enough. Now, okay, what do I do about this? Because this is, for very particular reasons, what he wants. So I'm like, well, and I was doing this in Midjourney, and I'm like, all right, I'll make 3 standing and 1, and then 3 lying down. And then I have to like do a content or a fill to get the middle one out to replace it with the 1 lying down. And I need the ones lying down to be in the same visual style as the one standing up. So how do you do that? That's a little Discord weirdness, but you can do it. What I then found, because he's like, well, this is nice, but they're all male. I'm like, oh, no. I wouldn't have picked that up. I should drop the freaky GIF into the chat of it trying to hallucinate udders, because it's some like real Cronenberg, Yeager stuff going on, and it's bad. So apparently we don't have a rich training corpus of cow udders, so fair enough. Much less cartoon ones. But this is the kind of thing I think, I don't know if you guys, I'll shut up here in a second, but like there's sort of the last mile problem with a lot of this stuff, where
Sure.
it gets you somewhere. And again, that's why people like it for ideation. But getting all the way is still, it's almost a little bit Zeno's paradox. Like it gets halfway to the wall and halfway again and halfway again. It's not quite getting to the wall, but it's approaching it. Yeah. But hell, it gets you pretty close. And, you know, I was now just, I find myself during a ball game, you know, making silly things to amuse my friends. You know, it's like, oh, my buddy loves Texas, but he thinks the kid looks like a wildling who's the quarterback. I'm like, what if it was a Game of Thrones wildling playing for the Longhorns? You know, like just making stuff. And this to me, I mean, just like Kenny was saying earlier, I think about creativity, I don't know if it's like net more or less. I'm curious what you guys think, but like, to me, it's a shift. It's a displacement, right? Like my son he's taking a graphic design class. He's trying to draw, he has a project somehow involving Oregon. He needs to draw a beaver in Illustrator, cute little beaver. And he's really struggling with it. I'm like, I want to get involved, but he's got to learn. Okay, cool. But my instinctual thing now is like, why don't we just AI generate the beaver?
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do that. That's, the coach will kill me. But my reflexive thing is like, why don't you skip the hard work of learning to draw the beaver? Why don't you just make the thing? On the other hand, so in a sense, it's like it's made me lazy. On the other hand, I'm not going to make, you know, a lunchbox featuring my kid's daughter with her nickname, period, unless I can just like speak it into my telephone while I'm walking the dog, which I did. Right. So it's like, it's just it's a, you know, the way we don't cut out letters from Letraset, anymore and like glue them on pages. Okay, cool, that's gone, and that craft, and now you get to be lazy in a sense and just lay down some type in Illustrator.
Yeah.
But you now do things you wouldn't have otherwise done. So
yeah, and it's I've noticed a thing in the TikTok community I've got where it's almost like creativity as video game, where it's just like, you know, someone talks about something and a bunch of people go make that image, and it's just it's kind of this informal excellence that's happening really fast. John, thank you so much for coming and sharing your insights.
Thank you, John.
Really amazing stuff. And by the way, congratulations. I find it fascinating because I think in a lot of ways there's a dramatic tension between the brand of Adobe being this suite of tools that people handcraft things in, and you're, you know, putting in this thing that, you know, does this really quick work that gets you to 85%. That tension must be fascinating to walk that tightrope within that company. So I think what you guys are doing is actually pretty amazing, considering the headwinds there must be there.
Thank you. I'll tell you all the dirty stuff offline. But no,
okay, yeah, perfect.
I appreciate the vote of confidence. That's definitely nice.
Awesome.
Good to see you again. Thanks so much for speaking. It's been a crazy year. Need to hear your perspective again.
Great. Okay, so we don't have a ton of time left. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to shift gears a bit. My request is that I would love to hear from anyone who was here early that we haven't heard from in a while, or anyone who has been here, you know, the whole time. Anyone here in Denver, feel free to raise your hand. Online, if that sounds like you, like I'm thinking Chris McCarthy might be one of those. Yeah, there you go, Chris McCarthy. So if you could all just raise your hand. Now I'm gonna have Ken. I am a bad timekeeper because I let people talk. I want to give you each a minute. So here's my request. You'll have 1 minute. I'd love to just hear what's been the single biggest insight that you've had in the past year around AI. Chris McCarthy, good to see you. Please just raise your hand, and I will just go down the list, and we'll have Ken hold you to a minute. And just feel free to scream out when we. Okay, perfect. Chris McCarthy, good to see you, sir.
Hi, Kyle. It's great to be here. Wow, so much has happened. I think I came to the second, third, and fourth ones, and I dropped out a bit actually because you guys went on daylight savings time, and here in Cambodia and Bangkok, it went from a 7 a.m. start to a 6 a.m. start, and I'm just sorry to say I couldn't get up quite that early.
That's rough.
But I did actually stay engaged, mostly lurking, watching some of the developments, and I have to say this community has been really amazing at pulling together a lot of the different threads of the AI conversation that is out there. You know, sort of helping understand what the feelings are about it, the zeitgeist, how different companies are reacting. Something I think Liz said earlier resonated with me because I work with a lot of development organizations, governments, NGOs, and also private sector.
Well, finish up, but a minute goes quick.
Oh, a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 5. All right, I'll wrap up very quickly. But I wanted to say the number of secret cyborgs out there is enormous. But just to wrap up here, you know, we introduced it to a lot of folks in the developing world, and people who English isn't their first language, or they don't quite have the skills to communicate, have really been incorporating it into their work, and it helps them to communicate better with others, and it's really been remarkable to see. And we've integrated it into our workflows. It's pretty amazing and great to be here.
Great to see you. Thanks for coming back. Great. Danielle.
Hey guys, I haven't talked on here before yet, and I haven't turned on my camera before, so hi. I just have really enjoyed this whole journey. I think I've been watching for the last 6 months or so. I've really learned so much from all the tutorials and what Kyle has taught on the AI Learning Lab, and I just feel it's amazing to me what AI can do, and I'm using it now to because I used to be a special ed teacher for 11 years, and now I'm using AI to help me with being an entrepreneur. So it has been so beneficial and helpful, and I just I'm so glad that I'm part of this community, and it's just been great so far. So that's what I wanted to say.
Awesome. Thank you.
I wanted to just jump in really quick too. Danielle has started a Mad Lib art generation prompt in the guild, posting, I don't know, Danielle, twice a week? What, twice a week?
Well,
Three
I had
times a week?
asked. I had
Yeah.
asked if what people, how I have like a whole bunch that I could do. I just asked if for feedback of how often people would like, and
Yeah.
I could do it more.
Look, twice a week is great, but I just want to encourage people to come do them. They are so fun, and it's Mad Libs. Like, she puts the prompt up, and then you put your adjectives in and your nouns, and they are really fun to play with. So I'm going to encourage everyone to please stop by the guild and do Danielle's prompting. It's so cool. It's really cool.
Great.
Right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And please do me a favor, raise your hands if you're willing to share your perspective. I want to call on someone. HT Snowday, are you around? Are you able to talk?
Yeah, I'm here, Kyle. What's up?
Hey, man. Tell me, what's been your biggest insight in 2023?
So the power of this to bring, and I spent a lot of time with the visual and generative AI stuff too, but I've probably spent more time in code and data analysis. And the insight is it's bringing that power to anyone. And I think that has that from a productivity standpoint, from a time to live for concepts and execution of projects, are really has the potential to be revolutionary. It turns people into programmers who are not. And I'll add one other. Let me say that who are programmers just don't know they are, right? They're not programmers by craft. They're programmers by insight into what needs of people really are and what would solve the problem. No idea how to execute it, and AI gets in the middle and takes care of that for you. So that's really the incredible insight I've had. I'm desperate to comment on the last mile thing that John talked about. One of the things that I've learned too in this is that the AI doesn't know what it's created. It has no context. I think once it starts to do that, the world really starts to change. Like in John's example, the AI has no idea there are cows in there.
Right.
Once it starts to parse out that there's a cow, then things really start to get powerful. And one of the places you see the kernel of that is when you ask AI to create code. And I'm struck by the example of that collective person on LinkedIn who said, I'm trying to get Dolly to create concentric overlapping circles, create a simple Venn diagram, which is a nightmare. Right?
That was Marty Ficazio.
Right, it was Martin, right. And how it struck me is like, well, however, if I ask it to write Python code to plot overlapping circles, it will do that perfectly.
Yeah.
So once AI starts to understand component context, which it does if you make it write code, right? Because it knows exactly what a circle is and it knows exactly what math is to create the circle. Then I think we're really going to see some amazing ability to tweak and I guess infinitely closer to the door. Never
awesome.
Quite there, but
all right, awesome. Great, David Prorock. You there? You're muted. Nice background.
No?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. This is my first time here. I was invited by Suzanne, and lots of insights about AI. So self-conscious about sharing one of them. But I would say one of the biggest insights that I had was that like previously, if you wanted information, you would like go on Google and then find information that already exists. But now with AI, when you want information, you can just create the information. So that was probably one of the biggest insights. It's like a shift from like searching to like just creating whatever you want. And then this can also like, and then like building on top of that insight, it's like providing personalized learning to people. So like if you're able to like ask someone a question and get an idea of like where their mind is and their understanding is like right now, then you can teach them in a very personalized way that directly builds on their existing mind graph.
Beautiful. Awesome. Scott Arndt.
Thanks for having me. Want to comment that I threw it in the chat earlier, but my mind is blown on a regular basis when I come to the AI Salon. Thank you for that. Thank you to everybody here for it just blows my mind. My insight is that in the last year, I don't think humans appear to be built to handle the pace of change that AI is bringing. And I don't think that I've never seen anything that is operating and changing at the pace that AI is. And so that, to me, I'm really curious to see how humans handle just the flood of information and the abilities that, like, just weekly, daily things are different. Like, it's different every day. And that's just, I don't know where that's ever existed before. Yeah. And I'm curious to see how humanity handles that as we move forward. So thanks a lot for letting me chat.
Awesome insight. Eric Sanner, good to see you, sir.
Hey everyone, it's good to see you. I really wanted to thank Kyle and Leah and all the organizers for your kind of relentless enthusiasm. I'm in the camp where I'm always still scared of everything, and I keep trying to do stuff with AI, and it still makes me queasy. Every day I wake up queasy. So I appreciate the enthusiasm that you consistently bring. My insight for the past year is that you don't need to know how or why something works to make good use of it. So little kids can go in the bedroom, turn on the light, turn off the light. They don't need to understand about electrons rubbing against each other or anything about even what electricity is. And we can all make use of AI without becoming software engineers.
Beautiful. Love it. All right. Not a lot of people are raising your hands, so I am absolutely calling on people. I have the power. Let's see here. All right. Matt Burton. Are you around, able to talk?
I'm able to talk.
Beautiful. Yeah, what's been your big insight for the year?
Man, at the moment, I got to say, this is my first time joining your salon, but you know that I've known you for a while, and I see you on TikTok. And I just love the, I can't find the right metaphor, but there's so many threads to this conversation in AI. I find it to be a generous community. I find a lot of collaboration with all the people that are excited. And I would share that as my one insight that kind of like Eric says, you don't have to fully understand everything, except that we're part of a bigger community and we're inventing our future. And I love that can be done in community.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Ann Murphy, you've got your hand raised. And you have gone from like, I'm not doing this to I'm doing all of this.
I'm doing all the things.
You're doing all the things. What's been your big insight now that you're doing all the things with
Now
70?
that I'm doing all the things, I've just never been so excited about missing perfectly good sleep. I have lost so much perfectly good sleep in the past 6 months. And in the beginning, it was like, because I'm scared a little. And then it was, well, because I'm just learning so much and my brain is expanding. And then it was, well, I'm so fucking exhausted from staying up past my bedtime watching Kyle's TikToks and waking up and trying to learn all the AI news before everybody on the East Coast. But then last week, I had a use case that was my very own from beginning, middle to end that blew my mind so much that I couldn't sleep. And like I said, I have never been so happy to lose perfectly good sleep.
Awesome.
I'm really happy to be part of this community. Thank you.
Great to have you here. Stacy Leach or Lesh?
It's Lech. Rhymes with tech.
It was I said it all ways except the right way.
That's okay. Most people do. I'm actually just me in the trees from TikTok, and I've been watching your lives for, I don't think it's been a whole year, but it's close. And super excited to join the AI Salon and hopefully get the Education Guild going soon. I'm an educator and also an artist and a UX. I'm in a master's program for UX design right now, and just really excited about combining all of that. And hi, Anne. And I work with students and teachers, and education is a total dumpster fire right now, especially when it comes to AI. So I'm really excited to kind of try to help. I've done some speaking engagements with teachers, and they're very hesitant for the most part. But I really enjoy collaborating with this community and hopefully working with some other educators to make some progress. But really fun collaborating with everyone and seeing everyone.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you. Oscar Aird, how are you? Are you available to chat? Or are
I
you
mean,
on the
I'm
back?
sitting in a dark hotel room. I'm sure I can say a couple of things. Hi, everybody. Glad to see everyone and glad to see so many people here today. Epiphanies from this year, it is foolish, bordering on reckless or dangerous to make any kind of predictions or assumptions about where we'll be in the immediate, near, or semi-long-term future when it comes to AI. I'm thinking back to all the businesses, the startups that just got wiped out when OpenAI rolled out GPT-V. It's like, oh, we're gonna look at documents, we're gonna do images. We don't have a good frame of reference for how things have accelerated and how they've recombinated into how we do things. So I say that it's best to watch, to learn, to study, but don't make any purchasing decisions, and don't, put up another mortgage on your home trying to start a business just yet, because things are still moving too quickly to, eke out a strategic advantage that will not be consumed by OpenAI in 6 hours as a incidental feature.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Good to see you, Oscar. We have CJ here in Denver.
Hello. First time, long time. What am I supposed to be asking you?
What's your biggest insight?
Oh, insight. Okay. All right. Let me take this out. What I've learned over the past year is an insight that if you don't have that same skill set that all the other artists have, that actually can take a paintbrush and a pen and things like that, but you do have all the stuff that's rumbling up in your head, you can get that stuff out of your head and onto a computer screen. So that's been a massive revelation and a massive big break in my own career.
Yeah, huge one. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Robert Rossi, good to see you, sir.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Kyle. My biggest insight is a takeaway that if you have a project, apply AI first. That's my biggest takeaway. I started like labeling bins for like barcodes and stuff, and I'm thinking, I was using up all this time, and I'm thinking, this sounds like a job for AI. And it was, and it did it it did it perfectly. I got QR codes, all the bins, everything labeled, set out in a real nice format. And so my takeaway is start the project with AI and then see where it leads first. That's my new mindset. I'm diving in 100% with it. So
beautiful.
That's it.
Nice. Love it. Greg.
Hey, Kyle. First of all, really appreciate you. I appreciate this group. You guys are awesome. I think my biggest insight I really got from you, Kyle, conversation today, is that there are no experts right now. Things are changing so fast, and it's about having fun and experimenting. And if we learn something, we're all in the fog, but we're maybe some of us see a little bit deeper than others. But even the person that is an expert is really in the fog too. That's my biggest takeaway.
Exactly. We're all more clueless than the next.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Kyle. That was really
You got it. Awesome. TK.
Hi. So I'm newer to the AI Salon. I've been following Kyle for a while, but I'm newer to, the sort of smaller community here, that you guys have going on. My biggest takeaway has been, I think it's just the access to the expansive knowledge. I mean, it's crazy how you can pull things. I mean, I could sit there and Google for a year and not come up with, the things that you can do now through the models. But I just wanted to say something off of what Stacy was saying earlier, and I know that Mr. K and things, with the whole education piece. And one thing that's been bugging me is that we really need people in the community, in the AI community, to start running for school boards, because that's what's going to help the teachers to move this forward. And so that's I'm not even into politics or into the education side of it, things, but with my grandkids and stuff, I literally think of that every day, taking them to school. So
Beautiful. Kelly Camp.
Hi, Kelly Camp. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I started following Kyle in May, I think. But since I found him, I've been on pretty much every single night and learning so much. My biggest takeaway is I've always, for some reason, sought out opportunities where I am the pioneer, which is a very lonely place to be. And you're trudging through new territory and that nobody's ever been before, and it's tiring and exhausting and thrilling and all the things. But for the first time in my adult career, I have found a tribe of people who are on the journey with me, and I can't tell you what that's done for me, emotionally and personally and mentally, and all levels of just knowing that there are people I can talk to about this stuff. And they don't think I'm crazy, and they don't think I've lost my mind, or I'm going down a path that's leading to nowhere. And when I first heard about AI and then ChatGPT came out, I just had that gut feeling that this was something big and I needed to be on this journey. But Kyle, I can't tell you how appreciative I am building this community for people like me who are used to traveling alone. And I can't tell you what it means to not have to travel alone anymore. So thank you.
Oh, awesome.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Trevor Mays, I cut you off before. I said, listen, you haven't spoken here before. You can't talk. Would you like to talk now?
Yeah, I guess I may as well finish my. Well, I already introduced myself, I guess. So. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to join late. I was trying to get there in person for the 1-year anniversary, but it just didn't happen.
I heard traffic was bad anyway. I think you saved yourself a headache.
No, really? Well,
yeah.
But yeah, so this year has been really crazy to think about the fact that, like, I'm not that old, I feel like, but I've been around for like the internet becoming a massive thing, the iPhone, and now GPT being released is going to be, I think, as big of a deal as the iPhone being released when people look back. I think even if there were tools that were available before then, like, it's crazy to think that, like, this is the year, like, this is the new iPhone year, or this is the new, I don't know what 1 year you would consider like the internet breaking out, but and becoming mainstream. But it's really interesting to be kind of in the middle of that and see how it has actual, like, practical applications that can be used by anyone. Just like showing my parents stuff over Thanksgiving, like, they're like, I didn't even know you could do any of this stuff. Like, it still hasn't saturated everyone yet, but yeah, I think kind of parroting a few things that a few other people have said already, but using AI as a first attack for your, like, almost any kind of problem imaginable has been like that is my go-to thing now. It's like, whatever it is, like, I don't know, just ask GPT and see what happens. And sometimes it's that's nonsense or whatever, or sometimes it's like it triggers some thought in your brain. And it's like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. It's like bouncing your ideas off someone else, except it's a weird collection of the entire internet all combined and filtered back to you.
Yeah, you get to tap into all of humanity. So,
yeah,
awesome. Thanks, Trevor.
Yep.
David, you have something else to add?
Yeah, I'd just like to kind of build on what Trevor said. Like an image or a metaphor, I like to think of ChatGPT. It's like if you imagine the night sky, every star is a brain, and then ChatGPT is like a telescope that lets you to aim your mind at like a specific constellation of brains that are then kind of like projected into your mind.
Nice, nice, very nice. Vicky, are you available and willing to speak? Vicky,
I'm here.
hey, how are you?
Mug
Very
is
nice,
like a
very
mug.
nice hat.
It's a wig.
It's lovely.
I didn't know when I'd get a chance to wear it, but you know, I before I ever found large language models, I was often Googling like how much information can your brain hold. And my brain is getting older, and then I found Notion, and then now I just don't even know where I'm going to put everything now because my Notion is full. But you know, but anyway,
Notion.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know you could fill Notion. Now I'm afraid.
I don't think you can, but I think I'm close to it. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm known for rambling, so I'm just going to stick to probably two things. What I found like most valuable for me is like I got my meal planning down to a science, like sticking to a specific diet and with weird restrictions on top of that. There is no app that can do that for you, right? But I can do it with ChatGPT and it's amazing. It will not only create a meal plan and the shopping list and the recipes and whatever, but like I can actually stick to it because it's fun creating those things. So there's that. Today, my daughter sent me a job that she wants to apply for. She's doing her master's in advertising. There is a job at TikTok in Seattle that she wants to apply for. So I was able to say, like, if you were like the top headhunter at TikTok, what would you be looking for? Blah, 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 blah. Like create like all kinds of stuff that she can, you know, like adapt her resume, you know, what the headhunter might be looking for, write a specific resume and a cover letter and like what might make her stand out as a unique candidate for this job and whatever. And now she's got like all kinds of information that she can like put into her cover letter, resume, whatever, you know, whatever. So, you know, we never had that before, and she might not get the job, but she'll have fun playing with all that kind of stuff. So
That's awesome.
that's all.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing, Vicky.
And thank you for all you've been doing, Vicky. Vicky's been she's joined the organizers and she is organizing up a storm. She's also been creating all of our content on LinkedIn. So all those really cool posts that you're seeing recently, that's Vicky. You're killing it.
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, couldn't do it without you. It's awesome.
Peter Kaminsky, are you around?
I am. Thank you, Kyle.
Hi, Peter.
Hey, Leah.
So Peter, you've got so Peter heads up the AI 101 Guild. So if you're new and getting started, Peter's really patient and really good at that. But you've also you've got such deep technical experience. I find it I don't know. I find it inspiring that you are passionate about starting the AI 101 Guild because you know I feel like you're so far beyond that, and yet like you're really passionate about it. So at first, I just want to thank you for that and who you are and your patience and generosity. But
you're welcome.
Here, where is your head these days?
My big insight, and I heard you say this recently. I love that AI is democratizing access to all kinds of stuff for lots of people. So that's what really excites me, and I really enjoy helping people get to I don't want to see people stuck, and I really enjoy helping them get unstuck, and it's fun working through that. I have to say I have a little bit of a AI 101 has turned a little bit bipolar for me. I like doing the really basic intro stuff and answering questions. Computers can be really stupid and hard to work with, and so it's nice to work through stuff and get people unstuck. because it's usually the computer's fault. But then I've also started doing this, like, in a way, super advanced stuff. So today we walked through, it turns out it's faster to do it backwards, actually. I showed folks how you set up an API, have ChatGPT literally write the Python code to run a little web server and an API.
Wow.
And then tell ChatGPT about it, make it into an action in a GPT, and then say, okay, ChatGPT, now make it so that, help me use that API. And we're talking about, like, somebody asked, as all that we're doing, like, Neofy friendly, is it safe to do this kind of stuff? And I'm like, well, you have to be a little bit careful in a few places. But you all here are learning, like, second year programming stuff, like hardcore, like, like in the weeds, back end programming stuff. And everybody's kind of like, let's do more of that. That's great. I love it. So thank you for the people that attended today. I'm going to get the recording out tomorrow sometime, so you can kind of watch it. I think we're going to do another session again, this time maybe not writing our own API, but using something like Zapier or something to connect up GPT with API stuff. Now that we know what APIs are, we'll connect up to different APIs. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's
it's been a great time.
I can't wait to come. I can't wait.
Looking forward, Leah.
Everyone go to Peter's meetings. You're going to learn so much. They're so cool. And this is such an offering. And
thank you so much,
thank
Leah,
you.
and Kyle, and everybody else, all the organizers, all the folks that come every couple weeks. This has been an amazing and wonderful, loving community to join and be part of. And like folks have said, it's really important to have fellow explorers in the very forefront of stuff. So thank you all very much.
Great, thanks, Peter. And you said you did record that, and you'll be posting that.
I did. Yep.
And you'll be posting it where, in the 101 Guild?
I'll post it in 101 Guild. Yeah.
Perfect.
Maybe also in the show and tell or something like that too.
Yeah, I think Awesome. Thank you, sir. Charlie Brewer, are you there and available?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well,
hi, Charlie.
Howdy. For those who don't know, I'm a UX designer, and I actually got my start working for Kyle at agency.com back in the 90s.
The olden timey days, in my day.
Let me just make sure my dentures are in.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing for me is realizing that the intangible and valuable parts of designing, which is figuring out what people want, discovering workflows, figuring out the need for a product and maybe to build a business around it, that is just as valuable as ever. And the tools and workflows that we use to create wireframes and flowcharts and finished designs that then get turned into code, I think that's all going to disappear into an AI tool where we give it some minimal prompting, either drawn or spoken or photographed, and our able assistant will simply render the appropriate code for us, and we as less creators and more curators, will just need to know if it's well designed. So I'm speaking more of tools that do things, and I think it will be a great boon in that area.
Awesome, great. I want to call on one other person. This is a person who's been, I think, to nearly every Salon meeting, and from where I sit is one of the most improved in terms of sort of a trajectory in AI, and that's Roger. Roger Scott, are you available? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are a year into this, showing up at this thing, and given your background and what you do. Would love to just hear what you're up to and what your thoughts are.
Sure. Well, probably the most mind-blowing thing is just the growth of this. We seem like such a little band of exotic freaks early on, and it's hard to tell whether a lot more people have become like us in the last year, or whether they're all out there all along. It's just a matter of getting them connected. I think it's somewhat in the middle, because I think a lot of people have really a year ago weren't, probably a lot of people on this call weren't really all that aware of this stuff a year ago. So
Yeah.
certainly some of that. But you know, when I first came to this, I hadn't done, basically I had zero exposure to the generative art, you know, image side of things, and that kind of become the thing I play with the most, because it's so fun. And you know, as everybody, you know, a lot of people observe Midjourney, it's just a marvel of design, in the sense that it does something interesting and fun so easily. You know, it mostly does what you want, or at least, well, the weird thing is it doesn't do what you want. It does something that you might have wanted.
That's a great point. It's like I am often confronted with images where I'm like, ooh, I would have created that had I had the talent. So,
or just oh, I never thought to put those things together, but that's kind of cool.
That's awesome. The image behind Roger was one of the images that was accepted into an art exhibit in Boulder, a month or so ago, right?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, so Leah,
wow,
we are here.
I used John Knack's GPT Lego to make
Oh,
a
nice.
happy birthday background, and I felt like that just sums up what this year has been.
If no one has shared John Knack's GPT Lego thing in show and tell, would someone please do it so I can go play?
Yeah. It's
That's
so
very
fun, and you make cars and put them in cool places. And I just thought, this is something a year ago that never would have happened, and here it is.
Yeah,
on my
it's
background.
amazing.
So
amazing.
thanks, John Knack, for this.
Well,
Yeah.
Leah, I want to thank you for you know being my my co-host over the year, and for your generosity, because a big part of what this community is because of who you are. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank Bradley and Ken, Jane, the organizers, the guild masters, the guild co-leads, volunteers that just kind of show up to do stuff, volunteers that say, hey, I'll support you. I saw Tobias on the call. Tobias has stepped up and he is sponsoring next month. So thank you for that. We'll give you an official shout out for the next 2 meetings. So just really remarkable. So I don't know. I just want to say thank you, Leah, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, everyone. I mean, we sort of, if we build it, they will come, and this community would not be what it is without every single one of you here. Thank you for being here.
Yep. Awesome, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. We will see you in 2 more weeks.
See you,
And
John.
see you on Mighty Networks.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, see you on Networks. Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Yeah, off to Zeppelin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.